and the small matter of big red at home. I am joined as ever by Matt Jones, and I'm delighted to say this week we are joined by none other than Super Kevin Campbell. Kev, how's it going?
Listen, guys, thanks for having me on. I'm very, very happy. I'm good, and I need a win this weekend. I need a win.
Just saying there, Kev, before we came on air, you sat in Barcelona, sun's peeking through there, through your window. Everton atop the leagues, doing really well. I mean, life's great for you at the moment, isn't it, mate?
Life's beautiful. I'm walking around in shorts today, left England and cold, come over here walking around in shorts. The Blues are top of the league. Arsenal have got a big game at Man City as well. Listen, I'm happy. Everton top, Arsenal is joint second. Listen, it's great. It's great.
You've got Forrester playing Blackburn at 3 as well, so your afternoon's chocker there, mate.
Yeah, I know, mate. It's going to be busy.
So obviously, leading into the derby, the perfect person to have on, and everyone talks about the goal you scored at Anfield. But I just want to go a little bit before that. And when you joined Everton, so we were in a terrible position, and it kind of gets a bit overlooked because of the goal you scored at Anfield. That you basically saved us from relegation that season. You got 9 goals in 8 games, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What was it like when you got to the dressing room? Because over the last few years, things have been bad at Everton, and you can imagine when players turn up, not a nice environment to go into. So how did you find it when you sort of got at Everton? It was like, right, we're in trouble here, lads. You need to get us out of it.
Well, I think you got to remember, me and my paths crossed with Everton so much. I made my league debut for Arsenal against Everton at Goodison Park. There were many titanic battles between the clubs around that time because that was kind of the end of that, Southall, Ratcliffe, Reed, Sharp, Sheedy, Gary Stephen, Trevor Stephen, Pat Van Der Nel. That team, Bracewell, that was their last game, was my first game. So I'm lucky I got to be on the same pitch with those guys, those legends at the club. So it is inextricably linked. So I understand what type of club Everton are. I know how big the club is. So when I was in Turkey and it came up, there were 5 clubs interested in me. The first one mentioned out of my agent's name at the time was Everton. I said, stop right there. That's where I'm going. I hadn't seen the games, but as I said, I know what type of club it is. I'm not daunted by, I played for Arsenal, so I'm not daunted by coming to Everton. And I think that's important. You can't, because what tends to happen is when players come to Everton, they don't realise how big the club is until they get there. And then when they get there, they're like, wow, this is a huge club. But I know how big Everton is. So I think that helped me. When I looked around the dressing room, there were so many quality players. But I just think that the front boys were a bit young. Didn't quite think it worked out for Ibrahim Bakayoko at the time, although he showed flashes, but he was kind of trying to find his feet up front. And when you're in a relegation battle, it's not the time to find your feet. Obviously, Danny Cadd and Franny Jeffers were playing, 2 young, very talented players, but you need a bit of experience up there. So I saw myself coming into that. My first game was the Merseyside derby. That was my first game at Anfield, and we unfortunately got beat 3-2. Olivier Dacour scored a great goal, and that's the one where Robbie Fowler was eating the grass, so to speak, in front of the Blues. In front of the Blues, which we all know was crazy. What Gerard Houllier said, but that was what a first game for me to go into. So that's why I always look forward to these derby games. But to find my feet, it was, we played Sheffield Wednesday at home the next game, if you remember. We were 1-0 up at half-time, we were cruising, and we gave them, Benito Carboni, we gave him 2 gifts, 2 back passes in, straight to him, and he put us to the sword and we hit the bottom 3. And then that was the catalyst for us. Watersmith challenged us. And we went on from strength to strength from there. We won back-to-back games, went up to Newcastle, won at home a couple of times, beating Coventry and Charlton respectively. And ultimately that took us through to the West Ham game. And, that atmosphere at Goodison that day was incredible. Honestly, I've been around the world and I've not heard, noise like that. Honestly, it was tremendous.
Yeah, that was a rare high point in those sort of, that sort of bit of the Walter Smith reign. That West Ham game was unreal. It was just...
It's interesting there, Kev, what you said about coming in. Did you sort of feel as though the pressure was off you a little bit because the team were doing so badly? They were in such a plight. And I suppose you could sort of come in as a striker and go, if it doesn't work out for me here, I might not be sticking around for a long time. But if things go well and I score goals, then I can make a big name for myself at a football club that's been toiling. And, I can't imagine 20 years on, you would have thought you'd be having conversations about that today.
No, I'll be honest with you. The funny thing is when you're actually in it, you don't really look at it like, I get a free hit. I know what it takes to play for a club like Everton, and you have to give your all. There's no half stepping when you're at Everton. It's either you're all in, or the fans know that you're not putting your lot in. So I think that's what made me connect with the Everton fans even more, because we were putting our lot in and we were getting results. So, helping to make a difference was really important. But do you know something, guys? Pressure is a privilege. When you play for a club like Everton, having pressure is a privilege. Playing for the clubs like Arsenal, etc. That pressure is a privilege, because let me tell you, I've been down the bottom of the league and survived on the last minute of the season with West Brom. And believe you me, being at Everton is a lot better than scrapping and scraping and doing anything you can to stay up down the bottom end there. So, that was obviously a difficult time for Everton. But that pressure really is a privilege. And I was privileged to get the number 9 shirt. And, I'm so pleased that I could uphold that mystical special goal scoring record with that shirt brings.
Oh yeah, you definitely did it justice, mate. I think you're the 4th highest Premier League scorer, aren't you, behind Duncan Ferguson, Lukaku, and Tim Cahill?
Yeah.
That in itself's no mean feat.
Yeah, it's not a bad stint, I suppose, but it's just a pity. Maybe it was the timing. It would have been nice if it was a couple of years earlier, so I could have got more chance. But look, these things happen for a reason, don't they?
Yeah, mate, you definitely did the shirt proud there. I was just sort of thinking, I love the fact that you had the crossover with the sort of the Everton team that everyone sets the standard by, and but you came into that knowing about the club, and I kind of get the feeling the players who've just come in now, they've come into a different environment. But you think players like Alan and James Rodriguez, Everton probably weren't on their radar so much until Ancelotti got the job, and then they would have sort of found out a bit more about the club. But how do you reckon they've settled in so quickly? Is it just because they're such good players, or?
Yeah, well, that's part of it. I think you've got to give credit to Carlo Ancelotti, Fergie, and the backroom staff, because the backroom staff, Jimmy Martin, Jimmy Comer, and Tony Sage, and all the guys, they're the glue. I'm telling you, they're the glue behind the scenes that keep these guys on an even keel. These guys ain't flustered with, how much money you earn or nothing. They look at the character. What type of person are you? And, when they embrace you fully. And I'm sure they've played a massive part in the background. And I'm sure Carlo Ancelotti knows that he's quite blessed to have these guys in the back, because they make a massive difference. So, not only are they great players, but they must be good characters as well. And, they've hit the ground running. Decore as well has hit the ground running. So that clapped out Cortina engine is gone, and the Rolls Royce Bentley engine's in place. That's what
absolutely. But Les mentioned Rodriguez there, Kevin. I think it's I've been watching Everton for 20 odd years now, and I think in terms of technical ability and awareness and just creativity, he's probably the most talented natural footballer I've seen. And I don't know if this ever happened to you in your career, but first of all, did you ever get a player like that just come into a group who was just a level above, and you thought, "Oh my word, what have we got here?" And secondly, what does that do? What does that do to a dressing room when you get someone like that coming in?
Well, it's quite difficult, because when you play for Arsenal at the time and you're there winning trophies and challenging, you look at it and you think, right, who's going to come in and make it different? Anders Limpar, who obviously has a joint thing with Arsenal and Everton as well, when he came in, he made a massive difference. Just his awareness and his feet and his football brain was amazing when he came in. That really made a difference. And you get on a wavelength with a certain player. And as soon as he came in, he knew what I wanted and I knew what he could deliver. So that was great. Don Hutchinson, I think, is so underrated as well at Everton. If you look at a lot of my goals, Don Hutchinson is involved at some way, shape or form. He spots a run or he picks a pass or whatever. Me and Hutch just had that telepathy, it was telepathy there. And it was great. But honestly, this James Rodriguez, how many Premier League clubs go out and buy a World Cup Golden Boot winner? Still in his prime. Still in his prime. It's never happened. It's never happened in the Premier League. So that's another first for Everton. So, he is in his prime. And you know what? I'm not jealous of many things, but you know what? I wish I could play with this guy, man. This guy, he spots things so early. It's ridiculous. Here's how you know when you're watching football on TV, and because you can see the whole pitch, he's receiving the ball and you could see, there's a pass there. And next minute he does it. He passes it there. That's how you know he's way ahead.
It's sort of like the football match seems to pivot around him, doesn't it, Kev? Like the game seems, even though he slows the ball down sometimes and, will occasionally just stop, I think the game seems to ignite. And I suppose if you're Dominic Calvert-Lewin or you're Richarlison, or even if you're Luca, do what you're doing.
You're rubbing their hands.
You're rubbing your hands together, and then you're getting on your bike into the box, aren't you?
Well, it's no surprise that Dominic Calvert-Lewin's production has gone up another level. When you got these players in your team, Alan, remember there's not a lot going through to the back four now because it's been blocked out. You got the Core, who's box to box, great legs, physical presence, breaking stuff up and breaking forward. And you've got a bit of that sugar, bit of magic from James Rodriguez mixed in with Richarlison. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is only going to benefit from that. And he's looking to finish the article right now. I can tell you that much, guys. I'm sure you see it yourself. Great to see him get on for England and score on his debut. And, I think there's a lot more opportunities for him to come. And I'd love to see him in that number 9 shirt now.
Yeah. The only thing with Calvert-Lewin was always the fact, he doesn't really add goals to his game, but he's properly had a goals to his game this season. Just mentioned Richarlison there. What did you make of him nicking Firmino's goal in midweek?
Don't blame him. A goal's a goal. Nick it. Get one up on the Reds, eh? No, listen, sometimes that's just what you do. It's instinct, isn't it? And as a striker, you want to score goals. So you get to it before it goes over the line or whatever, and you nick the goal. Hey, it's all part and parcel, because I'm sure Fabinho would do the same.
Yeah.
Let me tell you. So, yeah, I've got no problem with that. Richarlison nicking the goal.
One question I did want to ask you, Kev, about Calvert-Lewin. You said there he's taken the number 9 shirt. It's not weighing heavily on his shoulders at all. I think one of the things that Les mentioned there about him not necessarily being a natural goal scorer was always levelled at him. People, when they'd be talking about you, would say Kevin Campbell, natural goal scorer, natural finisher. You've heard all the cliches, right place, right time, etc., etc., etc. Are you surprised that Dom has been able to learn that ability of being in the right place at the right time? Because I think when people talk about goal scorers, it's almost like you've got it or you haven't. And it feels like Dom's been able to learn those abilities as he's gone on. Are you surprised he's been able to do that?
Am I surprised? No. Am I surprised how quickly it's come? Yes. Because I remember speaking to Dominic, was it 2 seasons ago now? After the Arsenal game, Everton beat Arsenal 1-0 at Goodison, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin was the man of the match, and I was doing the game pitch side, and I've seen the great work he does, running channels and doing all this kind of thing. But when the ball's going in the box, he wasn't there. So I spoke to him after the game and I said that you're doing too much work outside the box, because you know what I said, it's great work. But you need to, if you're going to be a striker, number 9, you need to be in the box. So fair enough, you could run channels now and again, but you've got to be in between them sticks to score your goals. And I've got to give credit to Big Dunk. Once Fergie got hold of him, when Fergie took over, he played him and Richarlison up top. I think that's what changed Dominic Calvert-Lewin's mindset, because he weren't doing it all on his own. He had a foil. He had somebody to work with. So as soon as that happened, he scored, I think it was Burnley at home. He scored a great header and stuff. Scored 2 against Chelsea the first game, and looked to threat. Now he can play up top on his own because he's got that quality around him, and he knows I'm playing the width for the box, and I'm getting in between them sticks. And his goal scoring rate has gone up, and he's really looking the part. I'm so pleased for him because he's a really nice kid. He's a really nice boy, and he deserves everything because he works hard.
Yeah, he's had a bit of a thankless task at Everton for years, because he's kind of been used to run the channels and be a battering ram, and he's been like pretty isolated on his own up front. Obviously, you struck up a great partnership with Franny Jeffers. Did you ever play up front on your own, and how did you find it if you did?
Yeah, I played up front on my own quite a few times. I tell you what, when I played up front on my own under David Moyes, it was a thankless task. It really was, because you were kind of up there, but there was nobody like a Tim Cahill, because he'd been signed, but he was loaned back to Millwall. But there was nobody coming to join. So when you've got the ball, you're back to goal, and you're holding it up for all these seconds, and then you're passing it away, and then finally players come and join you.
Yeah.
You can't get in the box because all of a sudden, you've used all your energy to hold it up and take it away, and then everybody else is scoring, and then your goal scoring ratio starts falling. And then fans could look at you like, what, you're not really scoring anymore. But it's to understand that the different tactic. It happens. And listen, the team is the one that matters most. As long as the team win, that matters most. But as a striker, playing up front on your own, if you don't have the support, is a thankless task. So I understand how Dominic Calvert-Lewin struggled to start with. But now he's got the bodies and the talent coming to him. Hey, he's going to flourish.
Yeah. So obviously, that was the wins against the Reds have been few and far between. I'm sort of thinking of the mindset of our team now, because we're completely different to how we have been over the last few years. We're going into the game 7 wins on the bounce. We've got genuinely good players who can do some damage. The Reds have been a bit shaky in a couple of games. They're conceding a lot. I'm hoping they go into this with a really positive attitude and just get at them early. Just going back to that Anfield derby, what was the mindset going into that game? Because it was a night game, so it would have here and there would have been really pretty intense. What were you sort of thinking going into that game?
Well, it's very rarely at that time where we went in thinking, we've got a real chance here. Normally you go in and say, we've got to keep it tight and, see if we could catch them on the break. We didn't have that attitude. You look around at the dressing room and you're seeing, Richard Goff and Abel Xavier, internationals. You're seeing Michael Ball, you're seeing Don Hutchinson, Franny Jeffers, Nick Barmby, myself. You're seeing players who have played at that level who can win games. So we went in there with a fantastic attitude, went in there to, let's go and take it to them, because we know we can beat them. And, we scored, after 6 minutes. And obviously it was a crazy game, but we saw it out. Finished obviously 10-9 in us, 10 to us, 9 aside for them. But we believed in ourselves, and there ain't many teams that could go to Anfield and keep a clean sheet. And we did. We kept that clean sheet, got the win, and it was a beautiful day for us Blues.
Yeah, I'm hoping the Toffees do the same tomorrow. I was actually watching that game at a pub by ours, and I got into a bit of a scuffle when Franny Jeffers and Sander Westerveld went a ham. So none of that tomorrow because the pubs are shut, so it'll be fine. just got some stats on the derby. Everton looking to win their opening 5 league matches for the first time since 1938-39. Incidentally, we won the league that season as well. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin could become the first player to score in each of the Toffees' first 5 encounters since Tommy Lawton in the same season. So that would be record to take that, wouldn't it?
Well, special. That would be special, wouldn't it? Look, over the years, there's been a lot of false dawns for the Blues. There's been a lot of false dawns. I've been, I hold my hand up. I've been, guilty of seeing things happening and wanting it to happen, probably quicker than it could. But I just want good for Everton. I fell in love with the club and I want good for Everton. And, seeing it now is a lot different, because now you've got a manager there who knows what he's doing. Let's be honest. You got a manager there. Nobody could question the manager. So now it's a matter of, can the players deliver, and the consistency of the players. That's the biggest telltale sign. We know there's going to be injuries, etc., and that might stretch the squad a little bit. But can Everton get across the line in this derby? One that really they can win, especially after Liverpool's last league game. There were a lot of flaws that Everton could probably leverage on. But whatever happens, Everton have to defend well. If Everton defend well, get their nose in front, Everton could win the game.
Sorry, Mark, go on. Just going to ask Kev on that. Obviously, the international break's coming a bit of a weird time for both teams, hasn't it? We were in great form, but we had injuries, so it's probably good for us. Putting yourself in their position, when you had those breaks and say you had a big loss and then loads of players went off on international duty, was that hard? Was that hard? Because I suppose the manager can't work on the shape and work on tactics then, can he, throughout the course of the 2 weeks? Yeah,
it's the worst. It's the worst. Because, there's a cliched saying in football that you're only as good as your last game. Now, if Everton are all as good as their last game and Liverpool are as good as their last game, hey, roll on tomorrow, let me tell you. Roll on. Because, we know that, look, they're full of internationals, they're great players, etc. But that Aston Villa defeat hurt them. Whether we like it or not, whether they like it or not, that hurts the confidence. Now, the fact it's a derby, yes, they're going to be up for it. But there's still uncertainty at the back. We've seen Van Dijk be a colossus. He did look a colossus against Aston Villa, and Ollie Watkins, took him to the cleaners. So we've got a man who's is more informed than Ollie Watkins. So as long as we can play our game and get that Rolls-Royce engine controlling that midfield a bit, I think Everton will be okay.
Got another quite interesting stat here, which is quite ominous for the game, actually. The last 3 Premier League meetings between these teams at Goodison Park have finished 0-0. No fixture in English top-flight history has ever finished goalless 4 times in a row.
So it's not going to be 0-0 then. It's not going to be a draw.
There's no way this game will be 0-0 tomorrow. Absolutely
no
not.
Chance. No chance. There's too much quality.
Yeah, and with the goalkeepers they've both got. I mean, I was saying on the show in the weekend, I think Klopp and Ancelotti should just shake hands before the game and say, let's not play a goalkeeper. We'll actually have a striker on each, and we'll just see who scores the most goals, because they may as well not have that thing.
Well, do you know what? It's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy how much goalkeepers can actually influence the game. Now, whether it's Jordan Pickford, who you just don't know what you're going to get from him at times. Listen, I've championed for him. He's England's #1, so he deserves. But some of the performance, some of the mistakes he's made, as push Carlo Ancelotti to go out and do some business and bring another goalkeeper in, who's going to be breathing down Pickford's neck. So Jordan Pickford best watch himself. Obviously, Alisson's injured for Liverpool, and it's crazy. Another goalkeeper, Adrian, comes in, and it's so disjointed at the back, which we love, by the way. But it's just how much that one change could upset the defence of Liverpool. So, we hope Everton could exploit that tomorrow.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's on the temperament of the goalkeepers, isn't it? It's a funny position because it's not like any other position in a football team. So you've kind of got to have a certain temperament. And I think we mentioned last week, you kind of look at Jordan Pickford now and you don't know how he's going to react to conceding the goal. And you wonder what's going on up top then, if you think, if it's playing on his mind or not. He shrugs it off sometimes like he doesn't care, but, sometimes it looks like it's all going in and it's affecting his game.
Yeah, and that's the problem. That is the problem. I suppose that comes with making probably too many mistakes. When you make too many mistakes, at first you can get rid of it. You can get it out of your head. But another one, it builds up and it sits there and it's hard to get rid of. So with a bit of luck, Jordan Pickford could have a stormer tomorrow, and the front boys could have a stormer too. Listen, I'll take a 3-0. I'll be honest. I won't complain at 3-0. I'll take any win. Trust me, any win.
Incidentally, how did you treat the keepers in training? So you kind of think if Pickford's going through a bit of a rough patch, obviously did the strikers go easy, or are they just brutal? Are you just like playing your own game in training?
Well, does the opposition go easy on this goalkeeper?
Yeah.
No. So listen, it's a professional business. So they've got their house to get in order. As a striker, you want to get used to and comfortable hitting the back of the net. That's the key. Hit the back of the net. Keep doing the right keys. Keep doing the right things and finish the ball off. So, if a goalkeeper's having a bad time, well, he's going to have even worse time, isn't he, when he comes against the strikers?
Yeah.
Just quickly move on to... Oh, go ahead, Matt, sorry.
I was going to say, just before you do predictions, we've had a couple of questions for Kev on YouTube. Jonathan Haddock has said, Kev, who would you play in midfield? Would you play Gylfi or Andre Gomez?
Gomez. I'll play Gomez for sure. He's a lot more solid. I think what we've got to do, we know we've got James Rodriguez, Gomez, and Decore, and Alan, to be fair, who can do the stuff. I think Gylfi, going one way is good, but going the opposite way, isn't quite that good. So I could see him being on the bench and coming off the bench if we need him.
And Dave Mack has said, Kev, did you have any superstitions when you were on a goal-scoring run?
No. Whether I'm on a run or on a drought, no goal score, no superstitions at all. Get out there, try and score, try and do your best. That's all you can do.
Good stuff.
Right. Back on, go just quickly on the predictions. So we asked the couple of the guys from the Blue Room what they thought would happen tomorrow. Ryan Reynolds, our eloquent Australian, said 5-1. The Reds going to need a couple of stitches applied to their buttholes once Carlo's rim ripping top.
Oh, dear me.
There's Ryan for you. Dave Downey, 3-2 to the Blue Blazers. Mike Diasha, 2-0 Toffees. Cy Magnet agreed with that. Mark Mosey, 2-2. Mark's the fly in the ointment this week. Jack, 3-1 to the White Sox. Rob Vera, 3-2 to the Blues. I don't think I've ever known us so confident going into a derby match.
Yeah, well, do you know what? It's about damn time we got confident and saw the Blues doing the business. Look, we're top of the league. Everton are top of the league. So you've got to leverage on that. I don't think it's overconfidence. Do you know what I think it is? I think it's a belief. I think it's a belief that, yeah, we can win. And why not? We don't want them winning, that's for sure. Predictions, I just want to win. So whether it's 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 6-0, 3-2, I don't care. As long as Everton win and have the bragging rights after this one. This one is really important because you know what? If Everton win, there's going to be some sickness on the other side, mate. I'll tell you.
Do you know what, Les? Kev has got me so pumped up for this game. I wish he was kicking off in 5 minutes. I'm ready to bounce around the house now and get me Everton kit on, ready to go.
Yeah, good to go. I'm ready now. I'm good to go now.
Definitely. I tell you what, anyone who likes a bet, put your money on a Kevin Campbell treble tomorrow. Everton to win the derby, Forest to win at Blackburn, and Arsenal to win at City. That would be a decent.
That would be good. That would be a good treble.
Good stuff.
Great treble.
Belter. Right, I have got to jump off and do mailbag soon, mate. So
yeah.
Thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it, mate.
Kev, really appreciate your time, mate. Thanks very much for coming on. And I'm sure I echo every Evertonian watching this as well. Cheers for saving our skin all those years ago, mate.
No, listen, thanks. Thank you for having me on, guys. And for all the Evertonians out there, listen, have some belief. And I know it's going to be nervy because it always is, isn't it? But hopefully after 90 minutes, the Blues will prevail, keep top spot, and keep a gap between the Blues and those Red Noses. Come on, you Blues, up the Toffees.